Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the Derbyshire Dales series. The Dales contain some of the most beautiful British scenery. It's a magnificent area. Here's one of its 109 civil parishes. Welcome back to the Derbyshire Dales again, people. Now behind me there you can see a type of religious building that we don't see very many of. It's a Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses. And of course we will talk about it and check it out in this episode. But it's not the most important thing you'll find in this village, not by a long, long way. Come with me for a walk as we explore the parish of Calver. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Calfridge. Alright folks, here we go again in the Derbyshire Dales, and for the second episode in a row, we're on the A623. A mile or so away from Stoney Middleton, where we were last time out, is the beautiful little village of Calver on the banks of the River Derwent. It's located on the border between the White Peak and the Dark Peak, and it's surrounded by the most beautiful Dales scenery. Calver, whose name is a reference to calves which once occupied this area, is an ancient village with origins going back to prehistoric times. Although all one village, Calver can be split into three distinct sections. These are Calver Bridge, Calver Sough and the old main village itself, sort of between the two. Calver Bridge is positioned on the Derwent, where a beautiful 18th century bridge crosses the water at a hugely historic mill. Today the area has a busy craft centre and a gift shop, an art gallery and a pub, although the latter is actually in Curbar. Calver Sough has most of the village's amenities, including a general store, a cafe, another pub and a petrol station, as well as the most delightful little sweet shop, popular in the summertime when all the kids are off school. The historic main core is also well worth checking out, if only for the commemorative lamp right in the heart of it all. I love Calver, and here I'm going to show you why. Our walk starts at a Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses. Now we don't see many of these, but Calver has a big one. Fun fact, Jehovah's Witnesses prefer the term Kingdom Hall over church, simply because the word church in the Bible usually refers to a congregation of people rather than a structure. Virtually next door to the Kingdom Hall is a terrace street called Newborough Terrace. This is named after the Earl of Newborough, who was beheaded in 1716 for his part in the Jacobite Rising. There's more on him in a short while. At the end of the street is a set of steps, which lead back to the main road. Now we're in the area known as Calver Bridge. This is the Derbyshire Gift Centre, which is well worth a look if you're ever in the area. It displays a huge selection of local and national crafts, plus a wide range of gifts, books and other items. The Eating House Cafe next door is open every day. Just after those is the Cara Mill Gallery. Now exhibiting paintings, for many years this was a post office. The local postmaster used to collect mail in a wheelbarrow from Froggatt. Now we can't actually see the mill itself because it hides behind a thick clump of trees that line the banks of the River Derwent. Above the Derwent now, here we're standing on Calver Bridge itself. Built in the 18th century, it provides both a road and a footpath link between Calver and Curbar, the next village over to the east. The river is the parish boundary, although some local people erroneously consider Calver and Curbar to be all one village. That said, they do share some facilities. The Bridge Inn, for example, seen here, is a Curbar landmark, but it's often used by Calver residents. There's also a church close to this, which is shared between the two. Now, before we go any further, we need to talk more about Calver Mill. Calver Mill was originally opened in 1778 by John Gardam of Bakewell and John Pears of Leicester. It was a cotton mill which took the place of a former corn mill leased from Thomas Eyre of Hassop. By 1785 the mill had been developed fully and stood at 3 stories tall. It was a little short-lived though. In 1799 the River Derwent washed away Calver Bridge and took part of the mill with it. Shortly after that, what remained of the mill was burnt to the ground. It soon managed to get back on its feet though. Once rebuilt, the mill that stands today began production in 1804. By 1830, it employed 200 workers, and in 1833, new, larger water wheels were constructed. Cotton spinning finished in 1923, but the building still had some important uses thereafter. During World War II, it was used as a storage depot and as a plant for crushing and washing fluorspar used in steelmaking. In 1947, it was bought by W&G Sissons to produce stainless steel hollowware. Unusually too, it was also used as a film set during production of the TV series Colditz Castle. Its old water wheels have long since disappeared, although their housings do still exist. The main building was restored for use as residential apartments, and that's what it is today. Calver Mill isn't the only building of its type in the immediate area either, as we'll see in a future episode. After passing under the road using a footpath off Calver Bridge, we're now following the course of the Derwent for a short way. This path runs around the back of some residential cul-de-sacs and over the point where one of the many small streams in the area discharges into the river. Why is the sound of rushing water so peaceful, I ask you? This path forms part of the Derwent Valley Way, but we're not following it into the countryside. Instead, we're branching off of it in order to stay in Calver. That quiet field is located at the back of Mill Farm Close, which marks our entrance to the main village. Here's the village hall. A modern building, this celebrated its 25th anniversary in June 2021. It replaced an earlier wooden and rather ramshackle hall that had previously served Calver, Curbar and Froggatt. It stood on the site of the current Jehovah's Witnesses Kingdom Hall. Over the road is a Methodist church. Originally a Jubilee Primitive Methodist chapel, it was built in 1860. It's thought that a Primitive Methodist society existed here as early as 1822. In 1833, there was a Sunday school above a joiner's shop, and later adult members attended services in a rented room of the Bridge Inn. The further up the road you go, the older the buildings become. The oldest part of the main village is a cluster of stone cottages gathered around an ancient village cross. A lot of these properties have had other uses. This one, for example, used to be a pub called the Bull's Head. When the post office moved from Calver Bridge, it relocated to a former bakehouse on the high street at the centre of the village. It's now a hair salon, and it's next to a commemorative lamp on the site of that ancient cross. There was once a standpipe attached to this, from which the villagers could draw water. So there are 3 stones which surround the base of this lamp, and in chronological order they are: one for the coronation of Queen Victoria in 1838. If we come around here, you can see the lamp was erected by public subscriptions in commemoration of the coronation of King George in 1911. King George V, I might add. And if you come around here, this one is in commemoration of the Queen's Silver Jubilee in 1977, the Golden Jubilee in 2002, and the Diamond Jubilee in 2012. So there you go, the lamp in the middle of Calver is all to do with royalty. Now we're climbing a shallow hill called Fold's Head, which will take us up to Calver Sough, but not into it just yet. As the elevation rises, a playground appears on the left-hand side. This isn't part of a park or a separate playground. Instead, it belongs to a pub called the Derwent Water Arms, and here that is. Established way back in 1708, the Derwent Water Arms began its life as the Newborough Arms, taking its name from the Earl of Newborough. In 1919, when Hassop was sold, the pub was bought by the Chesterfield Brewery Company, which amalgamated with Mansfield Brewery in 1934. These narrow lanes have a storied past which is all based around industry. Calver's very existence owes a lot to lead mining and milling. It was only after the first bridge had been built across the Derwent and lead mining became popular that the village began to take shape from an isolated community of scattered dwellings. Nowadays, Calver relies heavily on passing trade to keep itself afloat. Luckily, its geographical position allows it to do so. We're heading here up the high street towards Hassett Road. It's a steep climb, but once there, we'll be heading into Calver's modern hive of economy. That was quite a hill, let me tell you. If you are going to follow this exact route, be prepared for that one. You definitely need to have had your Weetabix in the morning. I'll tell you what though, getting to the top of the hill does have its advantages. If you stand in this bus stop, you can see just how high we have come from the banks of the Derwent a few minutes ago. You can see big hills in the distance. Oh yes, we're definitely in the Dales here. Definitely in the Dales. Bus-wise, these stops aren't served by anything. Calver does though have no less than 5 bus services, all of which use the A623. This part of Calver, centred on a crossroads, is Calver Sough. Sough is a term relating to underground channels dug to prevent lead mines from flooding. It's here where you'll find the Little Sweet Shop, one of Calver's most well-loved landmarks. Originally, it was the domain of Fishy Bill, whose fish were not always as fresh as he claimed. Around the corner on the A623 is an outdoor retail shop, because outdoor activities in the Dales are a serious business. Incidentally, that shop used to be the Higginbotham Boot Factory, where steel toe-cap boots were once manufactured. Crossing the large green on the intersection, we next come to the Calver Sports Association on the A625. This is where Calver Football Club play, proud members of the Hope Valley Football League. They were founded in 2002 and their home kit is a rather nice shade of blue. Looking up the road to the north, there's a garage. That's the way you'd go to get to Froggatt, the neighbouring village. We'll cover that in a future episode. For now, it's back the way we came. On the next corner is the Eyre Arms. This is named after the Eyre family who originally came to Britain with William the Conqueror in 1066. By the time Edward I came to the throne in 1239, they'd settled in the Hope Valley and held many manors. There's more on them in the next episode. Now, having a petrol station here makes perfect sense. Calver is situated at a key point of the UK's road network. Manchester, Sheffield, Chesterfield, the M1 and the A6 are all easily accessed from here. Over the road is White's. This has been a shop and a cafe for years, but it's currently a spa store. The cafe is called Cafe 19, which gets its name from the year it was founded, 1919. It serves a collection of artisan foods and benefits greatly from passing trade. Along Sough Lane now, here's the Gordon Booker Memorial Ground, where Calver Cricket Club play. They're one of the oldest cricket clubs in the country, and there even exists a record of Princess Victoria attending a match here in 1832. That's almost 30 years before the formation of Derbyshire County Cricket Club. And that's our last major landmark. All that's left is to make our way down Smithy Knoll Road to the end. Okay, and we are virtually back to the start. I think one of the things about Calver that makes it special for me is the fact that it's kind of in the middle of a load of routes which I've passed through before to get to other places. You know, from Sheffield, it's a simple drive down to Calver to get to the likes of Buxton and to Tideswell and to the likes of Matlock and Chesterfield. If you want to come this way, you can actually get to Chesterfield this way. It just seems so familiar to me, and yeah, probably going to pass through it again at some point in the future to get to somewhere else. But for now, we're done with the village. That will do us for Calver, everybody. What a great little village this is, and positioned almost perfectly for an ideal stop-off for routes across the Peak District in all directions. Next week we'll be heading south, where there's another village people like to visit, especially those who are fond of the Monsell Trail. See you there. Thanks for watching this video, folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already. It really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.